The Adelaide Festival opens tonight at Elder Park. It's more than 50 years since the first festival, but now Adelaide's events face stiff competition. Leah McLennan reports on a new scheme to retain the title of the festival state.
7 billion people in the world.
7 billion people in the world.
7 billion people in the world.
Sammy, Jay and Randy have performed at 6 Adelaide Fringe festivals.
7 billion names.
In their words, they specialise in the field of skinny man, purple puppet, musical narrative comedy.
7 billion pairs of knees. It's a niche market, and I think we're currently 7th ranked in the world in that particular genre.
We've nearly cornered it.
Yep. What are you watching TV for?
The duo are from Melbourne and have performed at festivals from Edinburgh to New Zealand. Like all artists, they say they love coming to Adelaide, but they've noticed it's getting a little crowded.
But of course, Adelaide also, you have about, 375 festivals going on at any given
No,
day.
only in February and March.
In February and March, of course.
That's when everything happens.
And so there is a huge variety of people to appeal to, or in the case of the Clipsal 500, people to attempt to avoid coming to your shows for fear of being bashed.
When the Adelaide Festival of Arts began in 1960, it was modelled on the Edinburgh Festival in Scotland, and like Edinburgh, a fringe festival grew up around it. Back then, the only other Australian capital city with a festival was Perth. But things have changed dramatically. Now, almost every capital city has a large arts festival. WOMADelaide director Ian Scobie believes the Adelaide Festival is still Australia's leading arts event, but the task of making sure it stays that way is tougher than ever.
What's clearly happened, in the last 15 years or so is that the event agencies and tourism agencies around the country have realised the economic benefit from staging festivals, so it's become an increasingly competitive environment. Other festivals have expanded their programming, they've expanded their budgets, and everyone is competing for that, cultural tourist dollar.
Now, the organisers of Adelaide's various festivals have turned once again to Edinburgh for inspiration. Kath Mainland is the chief executive of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and like Adelaide, she says her hometown has faced increased competition. To beat it, the individual directors of Edinburgh's 12 major festivals have created a single body to coordinate their research and marketing and to chase the ever-important sponsors' dollar.
What we discovered after several decades is, of course, that familiarity breeds contempt, I suppose, and we felt that collectively we had a stronger voice in really convincing not just the citizens in Edinburgh and Scotland, but the stakeholders, the local government, national government, about fundamentally why festivals and the Edinburgh festivals were a good thing for the city and for the country, and which is now, of course, what Festivals Adelaide is doing here.
While Festivals Adelaide is still in its infancy compared to Edinburgh, already it incorporates 10 local events. Sandy Verschoor is the Executive Officer of Festivals Adelaide. She says each festival will keep its individual focus, but they will all share the burden of research and marketing.
When you pull it together and you start talking about, more than $63 million a year in economic impact, or more than 2.9 million visitors, attendees to festivals and things like that, then you start talking some serious data and you understand why, that underpins a lot of what Adelaide is.
Festivals Adelaide will use that information to reach out to national and international audiences, but most of all, it will use it to capitalise on the city's inherent strengths.
Adelaide, like Edinburgh and Avignon, it is the jewel in the crown because the city is unique. So our geography is something that no other city has in Australia. It's a square mile. When the festivals are here, we can take over the city and everybody knows what's going on and people come out and enjoy it. We have a unique and very local advantage.
And so on. Cast your mind.
And while not wanting to diss their hometown, Sammy, Jay and Randy agree, in Adelaide, the fringe is hard to miss. Or perhaps they mean hard to escape.
When a city gets on board a festival is when it's a good festival, and we've done some where you walk the streets. We won't name names of towns and cities and places, but you walk the streets and people have no idea there's a festival on. There's like a small information booth tucked down an alleyway and that's it.
Yeah, if there's one thing about Adelaide, they're very good at letting everyone know that there's a festival on.
Like they block the streets off for a night and do a parade. That's a pretty good way of letting people know.